One of the major drawbacks of running with a heel strike that looks like this, the foot lands squarely far back on the heel while the knee is completely unbent. These two mechanical outputs facilitate a longer overstride angle that involves the foot landing in front of the ankle, the knee, and the center of mass, which is the hips. The big problem with this specific style of running is that multiple studies during the past few decades have found that running in this way produces nearly all the forms of impact linked to injury. To counter this problem, many experts believe that running form doesn't really matter as long as you wear thicker cushion running shoes, as the shoes will just absorb much of the impact. However, there is a lot of current evidence that does not seem to support the idea that positive changes to impact production occur with thicker underfoot cushioning when running. In other words, thicker cushioning under the foot doesn't always mean lesser impact when running, especially if you run like this. More meaningful insights on this came from a number of studies, which are all linked down below this video in the description box, of which a 2006 study in the American Journal of Sports Medicine found that heavily cushioned stability running shoes failed to reduce shin acceleration, which is a metric of impact loading, and failed to reduce impact shock on the shin in heel strike runners. A 2019 study in the Journal of Physics found that increased underfoot cushioning via insoles did not reduce the burst of high collisional impact that's always produced when landing with a heel strike with a long overstride angle with an unbent knee. But what's worse is that the cushioned insoles actually led to an even greater burst of high collisional impact at heel strike and also increased push-off peak forces as well, meaning it made the runners push off more forcefully with the ground. These results are in line with additional data from a 2009 study in the International Journal of Exercise Science, which showed that increases in underfoot cushioning with insoles did not attenuate shock or reduce loading rates in heel strike running. One thing that has yielded promising results consistently is that changing the mechanical arrangement of your foot strike pattern and your knee mechanics at touchdown when running, more specifically landing with a forefoot strike pattern coupled with a bent knee at touchdown, has more strong evidence in the scientific literature on having a major impact on reducing the specific forces that are most consistently linked to injury, because this specific landing configuration at touchdown when running seems to decrease impact acceleration and collisional impact on account of the foot gets better positioned to land under the ankle, under the knee, and much closer to the hips, which again is the center of mass. In this condition, it closes the distance between initial foot strike position and the mass of the body. From this, you can't generate the big burst of high collisional impact or heavy compressive loads that most often get generated when landing with an overstride, facilitated by landing really far back on the heel coupled with full knee extension. And of course, because there are more pronounced protections from opposing forces on the leg and forefoot strike running than in heel strike running, may certainly eliminate the necessity for thicker underfoot cushioning from a running shoe to reduce high impact, which is why habitual barefoot runners can run safely without suffering impact-related injury, because they naturally tend to engage a forefoot strike landing and a bent flexed knee at touchdown. So I just thought it would be worth underscoring that more positive changes can occur by removing wasted travel out of your foot strike, by avoiding a long overstride angle, by landing forefoot first with a bent flexed knee so that there's less biomechanical forces loading onto the leg, as doing so seems to really have more of a proven track record at reducing most of the forms of impact force variables linked to injury, rather than always relying on thick cushion running shoes, since in these shoes, you seem to be less able to avoid impact-related injury, especially if you run with a heel strike with a locked out knee. You still continue to face higher levels of impact stress, if not more. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to the thumbs up button as well as the subscribe button if you haven't already, where you'll stay more informed on heel strike running versus forefoot strike running, as well as why running barefoot can help you run better in running shoes. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Have fun out there on the roads and trails. Bye for now.